Hi, welcome back to the Clarity Podcast. Today feels different. I'm not doing these episodes anymore unless they feel really, really poignant, and I can't not do this one. So let's go straight into it. 2026. She's a heavy one, right? Full of revelations and truths being exposed and reality shifts happening all over the world. I am not going to go into them today, into the specifics of what they are, but each month, maybe even each week, something has been exposed, right? And it's a negative thing, an evil thing. And it's been really hard to bear the weight of that. But I want to say this: we are in a reset. That is the only word that can encapsulate this year. I believe that these revelations and these exposures and just everything that's been going on this year, it is the higher consciousness that we've all been working so hard collectively without even realizing to raise. I believe it's that higher consciousness working in real time. So yes, it feels really heavy to become aware of these things. And there is this collective grief, for me personally anyway, that I feel, and I'm sure everybody else feels, for humanity, like this sorrow for humanity. And I just want you to know that you're not going crazy if you feel it too. It's okay. But what's coming through to me to share today is that it's necessary, and not to dwell in it. And as horrific and difficult it is to be exposed to these truths and feel that helplessness and hopelessness, it is necessary that they are coming to light, that all of these things are coming to light. And when I kind of was sat thinking about this, when it kind of came to me that these things are coming to light, that phrase just means so much more to me now, because it is literally coming to the light. That's how I saw it. And we need those things to be in the light, right? To have any hope of transmuting it or healing it or putting an end to it, they have to be in the light. And that's what I'm delving deeper into here is we are in a reset, and it's a necessary one. But this one feels different. There's been resets in the past, hasn't there? In the history of the human race, there has been so many resets, so many shifts, so many timeline changes. Yes, history repeats itself and there's this natural cycle. But this one, I feel, is different. And the reason I think this one is so different is because we live in technology now like never before. We've been granted speed of light communication, access to all human knowledge at the tip of our fingers. You don't even need to go anywhere to gain access to any book, any study, any research, to learn a course, to educate yourself, to reach out to people across the world to hear the worldwide news. We've never had that before in the history of the human race, right? Not that we are aware of anyway. And so not only is the speed within which we're being made aware of all of these truths and all of these shifts faster than ever before, but I feel the speed that it could change is faster than ever before. It's the age of Aquarius. It's this online digital world, right? So the veil between evil and good isn't just thinning. I feel like it's being ripped open because the exposure, the reaction, the intensity, the extremity of everything is it's not like anything that's ever happened before, and I think it's to do with technology, but I also think that we can use that to our advantage for all of the people that are feeling, for all of the good people in the world that are wanting to step into this new earth, we could use this to our advantage. And yes, it's hard to be aware of these things and to be made aware of the world that we're living in and to be raising children in it and to be trying to move in it and trying to be a good person in it, but not to feel the hopelessness of that change is too far away or that it can't happen. I know it's really uncomfortable, but just knowing that this is necessary helps. And I want that to hopefully help you too, that be grateful that these things are coming to light as quickly and as intensely as they are, because that's what we need to progress into a new earth, into a space within which those things cannot survive. And so if you're feeling it too, I want to help to contribute to the lightness and to the love and to help lift the burden that we're feeling of this collective grief for humanity. And the message coming through is to not dwell in it, to not sit in it, and to choose to sit in the higher frequencies. So I've spoken about this before, but it's just so prevalent. And I feel like all of the past episodes I've done have kind of led to this moment. And I just feel so called to get this out there, that when I tell you about the frequencies of emotions, that is science. That's not me being woo woo. That is science. So if we respond and react to the awareness of these awful things going on in our world, we are focusing our precious divine prana life energy force on negative things, and we are lowering our vibration to contend with it. So if these evil, horrible things are low vibrations, right? And we're there, but we're choosing to contend down here with it. And when I say that, I mean wanting to think about it, or talk about it, spread information about it, speak about it to other people, to want to be violent towards it, wanting to meet it with the same evil. I get it. I get it. I have such a fire in my belly to fight it as well. And I want to see that happen. There's a part of me that wants that to happen. But if we choose that, we are playing into the low vibration, right? But if we choose to sit in the higher ones, these low things cannot exist in that high vibration. And if we all do this, we'll raise the collective consciousness so much that these things simply cannot survive. They will break down, they will shatter. I hope I'm explaining this right. There's a guy called William Tiller, I think it is, or Teller, and he has found that intention is now a thermodynamic force, right? This is like a revelation. Again, this is a positive revelation that no one knew before. But he has done tests which have concluded that intention is now a thermodynamic force. And what that means is, in essence, that intention isn't just a mental act, but it is a measurable, subtle energy that can impact the physical world by changing the thermodynamic conditions of the environment within which the intention is. Like, what? Right? So if we have intention about how we want to act, about how we want to be, or what we choose to focus on, or what we want to feel, then who's to say we are not physically changing the environment within which that intention sits? And better yet, if there's a collective consciousness of good intention, of intention for the new earth, of intention for higher frequencies, of intention for good and love and joy and peace, will we not collectively change the environment? And also, to contribute to this science little portion of the episode, fear has been proven to cause the cells in our bodies to stagnate, to stop, to not do well, to slow down, to not perform. Fear has been proven to do that, and we are all cells, right? On the contrary, love causes them to move with vitality. Proven scientific fact, not woo woo. So, to simply put the message in this episode, if we sit in the heaviness, if we focus on the issues and we sit in the fear of what's to come, if we believe the fear that's being put out there, if we are fearful, if we are sat in the hopelessness, then we are bringing down the collective consciousness, right? And I suppose I should explain collective consciousness as well, shouldn't I? Because that's a scientific thing as well. And I think that's what I wanted to get through to this episode. I want to get across the science of this because we believe science, right? We believe facts. So whether or not you are religious, spiritual, whatever, like I spoke about in my last episode, let's unite in the science at least, right? So collective consciousness is it's very much like, if you've seen Stranger Things, the hive mind, right? Think of it as the hive mind. We all have one hive mind, right? There's been so many tests on this with animals and humans, but in a nutshell, the emergent behavior is that simple, repeated individual behaviors generate the whole group's level of solutions without a leader telling them to do anything. So, simple, repeated individual behaviors will generate the hive mind's behavior, which is everyone. Okay, the group will act towards a goal without knowing the entire task. There's not one single mind that understands the entire task, yet collectively it will work towards a goal because of the repeated individual behaviors that create a group level consciousness. So if all of those individual behaviors are positive and joyful and focused on love and heart centered, then it will just be, the group's consciousness will just become that. And also, there can be a chemical communication without anyone having to say anything or do anything. There can be chemical communication through pheromones to create a shared awareness, allowing the individuals to kind of like coordinate in real time without like speech or talking to each other. Trees do this as well through roots, but humans have the ability to do this. But yeah, so that's collective consciousness. So if we understand that we need to be aware of it, and if we understand that we need to be aware of everything that's going on and have gratitude for the exposure of all these things and have gratitude for the fact that these things are coming to light rather than focus on the fact that they're happening even in the first place, which is so hard to do. But if we can do that and be grateful and choose to continue to live in love and joy and transcend those lower vibrational emotions and actions and choose with intention to lead with love, then that will contribute so much more to the collective consciousness than fighting on the streets. This is way more powerful to have intention to sit in higher frequencies and to live in hope and faith and truth and alignment and rise above, basically. Um, it's a hard pill that I've had to swallow because I am so passionate about fighting back and not giving into this kind of like slave society that we're all kind of awakening from. But yeah, meeting the low level with the hate and anger is sitting in the frequencies that they want us to. The exposure may have had intention to make us sit in the hopelessness as well. So you've got to think about that aspect, not falling into the hands of that trap as well. So we need to rise above and move in love and understand that it's science, that those things can't exist in the frequency of love. So, yeah, I believe that this whole timeline that we're in right now is both a natural cycle, like I said, because those patriarchal slave society structures are never sustainable, never going to be sustainable, and it's inevitable that it's going to happen, that it's going to fall. And I also think that there's a deliberate divine push here that every human with a soul has come to this earth to learn. And so every timeline within which there's a reset, I feel like it's for that lifespan of the souls that have come for that awareness, for that shift, for that learning. And this is our one. But this one feels incredibly powerful. We're here to learn, and right now we're being forced to choose, choosing between sitting in the comfortable routine, like asleep, sitting in that, looking externally for things, not self-reflecting, not finding the power within, following the negativity, rising to it like bait, becoming the sheep and the slaves that they want us to be? Or do we choose and finally realize that the divine is experiencing itself through us? We are the divine, and to look inside ourselves to find our light and our truth and our love and shift into that higher state of consciousness and to shed the conditioning and the programming that so far this society has put on us, and to rise through like a beam of light into this higher state where we lead with love and compassion and Christ consciousness. Because that slave society thrives on us looking away from ourselves. It wants you to be looking at a screen or an authoritative figure and watching the news. So you never realize that you are the creator. But you are the creator. You are. We are. And that's why the shadow, I feel like it's the shadow of the human race, of the collective consciousness, is coming to light, because evil simply cannot exist in the presence of true, authentic love. And when we remember our power, the system loses its grip. It cannot survive. The greatest threat to a slave society is a person who has done the shadow work, a person who pauses before they react, a person who trusts their own intuition over going against their inner voice. When you shed your conditioning, when you live authentically and love without judgment, you are raising the frequency of the entire collective. You are the uprising. Yeah. So, anyway, actionable things that you can take away that I wanted to put at the end of this episode. Let me think. So, how do we hold this weight? How do we do this? How do we make small steps? Because it sounds so overwhelming and it sounds so hard and difficult. And I know and I get it. I reckon for beginners to this, and when I say this, I mean spirituality, but for beginners listening, start with 10 minutes of silence each week. Not to get somewhere or have a goal with it or like become a master at meditation or whatever, but just to be, just to breathe into center like that. 10 minutes a week. That's the beginnings of meditation. And when we meditate, we raise the collective consciousness. So meditation is huge here, to be incorporating that into your daily life more and more for everybody listening. But yeah, if you're a beginner, just 10 minutes of silence a week, I think is going to contribute massively. Using your phones and digital in small amounts for good, not for the addiction of the doom scroll, but for good things like spreading positive change, stepping into the spark that you may have about serving the collective, promoting things that bring joy, spreading joyful things, positive things, rather than sitting in the negativity. And self-awareness and willpower here are very important, and having that strength of mind and having intention with this is really important. So it's hard to do, but even just putting limits on your screen time or recognizing when you're sat in a doom scroll and pulling yourself out of it, that's huge. That's embodying change in your behavior and that's actioning it. So yeah, just being aware of that, I think. When you feel yourself sitting in something negative, being aware and catching it and seeing it, seeing if it's in your control to transmute or shift, like staying up late, doom scrolling, putting your phone under your pillow at night or charging it next to you with the Wi-Fi on. They are small changes, but they'll be really impactful. And another one is cleansing yourself of toxicity as well. Like that's keeping us in low vibrational states, not eating toxic foods and detoxing, meditating, drinking cacao more, little things like this that will help to raise your vibration. Doing things that bring you joy. Again, listen to my other episodes about spark and unconditional love and being in alignment and shifting your identity. Watch all of them because these really play a part in this. Journaling is huge for self-reflection and shadow work. If you hear those phrases and you don't know what they mean, or you wouldn't even know where to begin, I'm actually qualified in journal coaching now and shadow work coaching. So I might start incorporating like a bit of a how-to if anyone would be interested in that. But yeah, that helps stepping stones of like uncovering and peeling back the conditioning that we've had on ourselves to raise our frequencies and raise our consciousness. So that's huge as well. And then I think the last thing I would say to help stepping into this high frequency way of living and this guy's consciousness is something that's been huge for me. But before you say yes to something, before you commit to something, to a demand or a requirement of you from the world, whoever it may be, ask yourself, is this my truth? Is this a requirement of me that doesn't feel right, or it makes me feel heavy, or it doesn't make me feel good, or it's going to take a lot of my energy for me to do this? Have I huffed? If you go, oh, that's your body literally telling you something. Or is it okay? Am I capable? Does it serve me higher than it drains me? Does it feel in alignment? Because following our intuition will help us all to live in more alignment and to follow joy. So that will help raise the collective consciousness as well. If you're constantly doing things that don't serve you or drain you or keep you in a stress state or in a frustration state or in a low vibrational state, then guess what? It's not going to contribute well. So yeah, I think stepping forward with this knowledge that together we can do this. Together we can create this new earth, and it's not by fighting in the streets. It's by living in more alignment with yourself, with your calling, with your purpose, with your identity, with joy, with love. Taking 2 minutes every day to just center yourself and go through the plans for the day, figuring out if it's in alignment with you, if it brings you joy. If not, change it. Have intention, have good intention, and do the shadow work. For those ready to go deeper, look at your judgment, look at where you judge. When you see ego in someone, acknowledge it in yourself. You know, when you see bad behaviors, negative thought patterns, when you feel triggered, when you get annoyed, start writing about it, start reflecting, and love everybody anyway. No matter what they do, love everybody anyway. Send love to everyone who needs it, which is everyone, even the evil, even the bad in the world, because they don't know what they don't know. So to summarize, we are in a reset, and the new earth isn't a place to go or a thing that we need to build. I think the first steps of this are to understand that it's a frequency that we need to embody. And I'm choosing to show up in this moment because I know that being authentic is the most radical act of love I can offer, whether it's online or not. So keep waking up, everyone. Let's keep waking up, let's keep rising, and let's keep raising the collective consciousness and awareness, and lead with love. Love ya. See you on the next one. I hope it helped.